Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji-ayanu, Bakhair-agale, Ni-hao, Chudashumme, Washmale. Ohaya Gazaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bojo, Privyet, Kaifahal. Haleshuma Chatore, Ahlan Vasal, Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabia, Balli Kareaya. Hosh Galdan and Ayasa, Huyamura, Chivato, Chihal, Jot, Kalimera, Khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and Watching World this morning. I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well. It's a great day for all those Pakistanis who are within Pakistan or are residing outside Pakistan. Why? I think that's something which we will come to, but first things first. Hello Eesha, Assalamu alaikum. How proud of a Pakistani are you today?
Walaikum assalam Shahzad. I feel exceptionally great and I feel very, very proud to be a Pakistani, and I want to give a big salute to all of the visionary minds behind the day of Youm-e-Takbeer, all the brilliant
Youm-e-Takbeer,
yes, and all the brilliant people and all the leaders who played the role in igniting not only Pakistani's leadership and their defense, but also our pride as a nation.
Wow, wonderful. You know, I think it's going to come down to territorial integrity and sovereignty of the country. But before we speak any further, ladies and gentlemen, the nation fervently observes Youm-e-Takbeer today, and congratulations to each and every Pakistani, to the civil leadership, to the military leadership, and each and every individual who's out there. The nation fervently observes Youm-e-Takbeer today in remembrance of nuclear tests conducted by Pakistan on May 28, 1998, which made the defense of the country invincible. On this day, Pakistan became the 7th nuclear nation of the world and the first Muslim state having the nuclear arsenal in its defense stockpile. The team of Pakistan scientists, led by founder of Pakistan's nuclear program, Dr. Abdul Khan and Dr. Samar Mubarak, carried out nuclear tests in the Rasko Hills in the Chagai district of Balochistan. These tests not only demonstrated the resolve of the Pakistani nation to safeguard Pakistan's territorial integrity, independence and sovereignty, but also the desire to preserve strategic balance in South Asia. The historic statement of former Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto that they would starve but transform the country into a nuclear power led to achievement of this milestone. By resisting the mounting external pressures, the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, NAWAZ Sharif, went for taking the bold decision to test the Pakistani nukes in response to Indian nuclear tests, and thus balancing the strategic slanting power in the region. Pakistan is committed to the promotion of environment of peace and stability in South Asia while preserving its capability to thwart aggression of adventurism in any form. Subhanallah, Pakistan Zindabad. In addition to this.
And not just this, President Asif Ali Zardari extended heartfelt greetings to the nation on the occasion of Youm-e-Takbeer, marking the 27th anniversary of Pakistan's nuclear tests. The president said that Pakistan's nuclear capability is a symbol of peace and a reflection on the country's technological advancement and strategic foresight. He emphasized that Pakistan does not seek war and remains committed to peaceful coexistence and adherence to the national law. Referring to recent unprovoked Indian aggression, the president noted that Pakistan has shown a strategic restraint and a firm resolve to uphold peace while safeguarding the national sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Zardari also paid tribute to Shahid Zulfikar Ali Bhutto along with the scientists, engineers and both civil and military leadership for the vital role in laying the foundation of Pakistan's nuclear program.
Exactly, not just that, ladies and gentlemen, even the Honorable Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mir Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif, congratulates nation on the 27th Youm-e-Takbeer anniversary, where Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif expressed heartfelt gratitude to Allah Almighty and extended warm congratulations to the nation on Youm-e-Takbeer, marking the 27th anniversary of Pakistan becoming the world's 7th and the first Muslim nuclear power. He highlighted that this year's Youm-e-Takbeer comes at a significant time when Pakistan, by the grace of Allah, emerged victorious in the recent conflict imposed by India from May 6th to 10th. This victory has added to the nation's pride and joy on the historic day. Not just that, ladies and gentlemen, on the 27th anniversary, obviously a lot of congratulations are in order. And on the 27th anniversary of Youm-e-Takbeer, the Armed Forces of Pakistan, along with the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee and Services Chiefs, extend heartfelt felicitations to the people of Pakistan. Youm-e-Takbeer commemorates the momentous occasion in 1998 when Pakistan emerged as a nuclear power, restoring the strategic balance in South Asia and asserting its sovereign right to self-defense. This historic achievement epitomizes the nation's resolve, unity and unwavering pursuit of a dignified and peaceful existence. Wow, I think it's great. I'm a proud Pakistani, alhamdulillah, but for everybody who's out there, before I introduce my guest, why do you think that the name is actually Youm-e-Takbeer? Now, that's a wonderful story which I would want to share. Obviously, the entire nation, with full fervor and zeal is actually celebrating or observing Youm-e-Takbeer, to congratulate what Pakistan did, became the 7th nuclear power and the first Muslim power. But why the name Youm-e-Takbeer? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be in conversation with that one gentleman who actually suggested the name Youm-e-Takbeer. He's with us on phone. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by Dr. Muhammad Shafiq Saab. Hello, Shafiq Saab. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, it's a very proud day and feeling very contented, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, for somebody who actually suggested the name Youm-e-Takbeer himself, and obviously it's an honor for us to kind of be in conversation with you. How did you come up with that, sir? What actually happened? You, alhamdulillah, hail from Wakan. How did you get to the name Youm-e-Takbeer and how did it get selected? Please take us through the journey.
Yeah, for sure. The creation of Pakistan reflects that the Allah is supreme and the country should be run through as per Allah's will and on the principles of Islam. So I was actually in my FSC in those times, and it was during the exams. India actually had tested on 11th and 13th May. So we were, I was personally was more in the newspapers rather than preparing for the exam. And then on 28th May 1998, we come up with the nuclear test. So it gave great hope to the whole nation, the great belief actually, and the happiness. So naturally Allah's supremeness came into the mind, and this name naturally comes to the mind that Youm-e-Takbeer, that we have, with Allah's blessing, have created a defense, and we are now, our defense is impregnable. So that was the mindset behind it, and it gave, the hope to the whole nation. And so this is the history actually, this is the story.
That was very wonderfully explained. Please let us know how important is it to name such prestigious days for a country, and how do they embed patriotism and a national memory for the youth?
Yeah, very important question. Actually, this name keeps reminding us that we have become a great nuclear power. And now the time is to form a society which is an economical power, which is a political power in the region, and which can, make the free decisions, which have, where we can eliminate poverty, we can eliminate the elitism, right? We can, make an inclusive society where everyone, takes a part to make this country progressive and peaceful. So this name always, I think brings hope and brings passion to the youth of this nation.
Exactly, so wonderful. And every single year, when it's 28th of May, I'm pretty sure, Dr. Saab, that that you feel that you're a proud Pakistani, alhamdulillah, and the name that you suggested brings the entire Pakistan together. Thank you so much for being with us. Yes. It was lovely to be in conversation with you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Youm-e-Takbeer Zindabad. Ji,
I would like to appreciate all the leadership, the military, the civil leadership, like our great scientists, some of those you named, like Dr. Abdul, Dr. Samar Mubarak Ban, Dr. Sultan Bashir Saab, Professor Tariq Saleja Saab, and the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, right from 1954, they were involved there. then the political leadership of the Z Bhutto, Mia Nawaz Sharif Saab, the Wazir-e-Azam then, and then the Army Chief General Jahangir Karamat. I think everyone has played a role, and it gives the message to the nation of the inclusiveness, so I hope we can remain integral to achieve the highest
Dr. Saab,
peace for our
it's
nation.
great, and thank you so much, for thanking the then military and the civil leadership, and it's great that we really give credit where it's due. But very quickly now, I have another question as well, because I would want to touch upon the historical perspective, and that is that India actually became a nuclear power. Some say that, that they've actually tested somewhere back in 70s as well, but it was the 11th or the 13th May of 1998 that India has actually become a nuclear power officially. People knew, and then in response to that, Pakistan actually had to become a nuclear power, and the pressure was immense on the then governments as well. How was it when India actually became a nuclear power, and then Pakistan tested its nuclear capabilities and the nukes, and Pakistan became the first Muslim country to be a nuclear power? How emotional were people? How did the nation responded to such decisions by the military and civil leadership then?
But very important question, and I can relate it to that situation between the 6th May to the 10th May actually. As India initiated the test, and people were weirdly hopeful that we will do it, and the next 15 days, despite all the international pressures of not testing, Pakistan came up with the nuclear test. So it gave a wonderful, the hope to the whole nation, and especially to the youth, that we can make the decision. We have created a deterrent. We are a sovereign nation. We can give clear message to the world. It gave the passion, actually, the patriotism that we have to lead our nation to, the best in the world as well. So that is the message of the day, actually, as well, that we have to take our nation forward. We have to bring up now into all the international indexing, because as we are only in the 7 declared the nation who have done the nuclear test, so we can come up on the as an economy, we are in top 40 now, so we can even come up. We have to come up into human development indexes. We have to come up into the ease of doing businesses. So this can help the nation as a whole.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. SHAFIQ, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with us. And, on your beat, the message is simple, loud and clear, and that is that na jhuke hain, na jhukenge, inshallah. But I would want to give you a historical perspective to it. And there's a reason, why Pakistan actually became a nuclear power. Now, imagine that if I take you back in time, Pakistan's nuclear program began in 1972 under Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, largely in response to India's nuclear test in 1974, as I mentioned. Not just that, the most interesting bit is that Pakistan actually had the capability or the capacity to become a nuclear power back in 1984. And the founder of the program, obviously we do know, the legend, the hero, Dr. Saab actually wrote a letter to General Zia and said that, we are ready and we could do it. And the then government actually, the then leader actually decided that, hey, so there's war in Afghanistan, we really do not need to, and we are not anticipating or expecting any sorts of war, so let's just delay it because there was US aid coming in for Pakistan. Then the political government come in, and it was Benazir Bhutto Sahiba, and then Dr. Saab went again and said, hey, Dr. Abdul Qadir Saab, he went and he said that, that we have these many bombs and we're ready to do it, and then it was on to the political government to decide. I'm going to bring you to, then it was again Nawaz Sharif Saab's government, then it was again Benazir Sahiba's government, and then again Nawaz Sharif Saab's government in 1998. Now the gentlemen who were actually present when it was decided that whether Pakistan should go ahead with nuclear testing or not was Nawaz Sharif Saab himself, all the military chiefs, Anwar Zahid Saab, Chaudhry Shujat Saab, Sartaj Aziz Saab, Abdul Qadir Saab, and the A.W. Qazi, who actually happened to be the cabinet secretary then. Then they decided, but 4 of these people were very pro of it, Gohar Ayub Saab, Anwar Zahid Saab, Shamshad Saab, and Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan Saab, that we really need to kind of go ahead and test it. How important was it for Pakistan then? Is something that I would want to ask my next guest, and we're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been joined by one of those amazing gentlemen who actually, it cannot get better than this. And the reason being is that imagine that this gentleman has actually written books on how international relations, he's an international relations expert, author of book Nuclear Arms of Control in South Asia. He's Dr. ZAFAR Nawaz JASPAL. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Youm-e-Takbeer. Mubarak ho.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. And alongside that, ladies and gentlemen, we certainly wanted somebody to represent the military as well. We're very lucky that we've been joined by the former president, National Defence University, his Lieutenant General retired Raza Muhammad Khan Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Youm-e-Takbeer. Mubarak.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. But first things first, Jaspal Sahab, I'll get started with you. The first question is, how essential was it for Pakistan back in 1998 that we really wanted or should actually become a nuclear power? Because Advani used to say after India actually became a nuclear power कि पाकिस्तानियों को सर झुका के चलने की आदत डाल लेनी चाहिए.
I think that it was very significant and demonstration was required. As you very rightly pointed out, that India tested nuclear weapon on 18th May 1974. But then again in 1983, Pakistan did also cold test. And it was a collective effort of the political, military and scientific leadership. So we cannot here simply label one side. There are many, many people and history is full of it. But on 11th and May when India did it, that brought a big shift. The shift was that India became very aggressive. Because if we were not going to follow it because we had a uranium-oriented program, without testing we were still confident, but still they said that after the testing of the India on 11th and May, and especially announcement that it was our nuclear weapon test. Prior to that, in 74, they said peaceful nuclear explosion. So that's why when they used this term, it was our nuclear weapon test, and then they started making aggressive, and Advani was, Kashmir was given to the Home Minister portfolio, so it became unavoidable. So Pakistani leadership at that time decided, and they tested on 28th. And that's why today we are honorably defending ourselves. But there's a most important point. The 28th May 1998 is a remarkable achievement or a development in Pakistan's strategic, you can say, development. Why? Because first time in the history of Pakistan, Pakistan had now sovereign defense. Sovereign defense, and that sovereign defense history started from 1998. Before that, we were too much dependent on the allies, whether they were, you can say, kind of a seat of central alliances which expired, and then we were too much relying on the America's good offices. But after May 1998, if you see, from that date to date, Pakistan is very much independent in making its strategies.
Alhamdulillah. And in addition to this, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts on this as well and how essential it was for Pakistan. I would very quickly love to move on to General Saab over here as well. So, General Saab, when Pakistan became a nuclear power, I would certainly want you to kind of shed some light on what was going on within the military leadership then. And then after or before we became a nuclear power and the world got to know that, hey, you know what, because I do know for a fact that how France actually jumped into it, how England jumped into it, and how United States of America jumped into it, giving us a lollipop that, hey, you know what, we'll give you A's, we'll give you planes and whatnot. And still Pakistan actually was in a dire need of a nuclear missile test. How do you see that?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I'd like to add two observations to what all has already been said. The first one is about the name of this day as Youm-e-Takbeer. If you recall, PTV News announced our nuclear detonations, and there was this team of scientists who were shown shouting Allahu Akbar. That was actually the main motivation, and it was, I think, the national desire to name this day as Youm-e-Takbeer. Secondly, soon after the Indian explosions, I think India started its nuclear blackmail, and they started talking about Pakistan forgetting Kashmir, and they started talking of raising their flag on Azad Kashmir, and things like that. They were actually practice kind of occasions, and we took the decisions which we had to. Here I'd like to thank you and all else, the Almighty, and all those who made this tremendous achievement and serviceable education possible despite very heavy odds. And let me talk about those odds. Uh, it was a real challenge, first for our military leadership, nuclear engineer and scientists, because technical and even military problems confronted for the first time had to be resolved, including man-made hurdles. There were some, tremors felt, and some of initial work was actually ruined, and it has to be restarted because of the national hazards. And we were then, if you recall, the most sanctioned countries of the world soon after our explosion, just before that, soon after that. But we survived all that. And thereafter, when we became in a position to start working on the delivery systems of our nuclear weapons or the miniaturization of weapon systems. I think all kinds of bans were imposed upon us, and there were many items needed for import, for which we had actually paid a lot of money. All those items were denied to us, and then our scientists and engineers they had to fabricate them either locally through experimentation, trial and error, or, or they had to adopt the long drawn out tedious process of reverse engineering. But all this, vividly illustrates, given the opportunity, modicum of resource, wise, bold, dedicated, and selfless leadership, and some encouragement. This nation is capable of making possible what might look impossible to the other. And the nation, I believe, particularly owes the debt of gratitude to its nuclear scientists and engineers for this fundamental accomplishment.
Exactly. It was certainly a momentous occasion as well, and thank you so much for shedding some light on, how Pakistan actually come or became or came into a position where, finally we knew that, that our territorial integrity and sovereignty will be upheld. I'm going to move on to Jaspal Sahab for a minute now, sir. So Jaspal Sahab, now, because you happen to be an author where you wrote a book about nuclear arms control in South Asia. So certainly there have been a lot of sanctions which might have been put in place, for Pakistan. I've mentioned how United States, England, France actually tried kind of convincing Pakistan on morality कि जी अब आप जो अगर इंडिया ने ऐसा कर दिया है तो आपको करने की क्या जरूरत है, आप ज़्यादा मॉरल बने, वो जो एक लॉलीपॉप दिया जाता है हम आपको इतने पैसे देंगे, ये देंगे, वो देंगे. How do you think it turned out for Pakistan, and how do you think that we actually paved our way successfully after we became a nuclear power?
I think that Pakistan's nuclear program is one of the most sanctioned or internationally sanctioned program, or Pakistan is one of the most sanctioned ally of the West during those days. If you see from 1974 onward, the first sanctions which were imposed on Pakistan because of the India's test, and we were not even, we did not cross any red line. Our, you can say, Canoop 1, Karachi's vendor stopped, Americans stopped, and sanctions were levied, and then Swinton-Glenn Amendment, and then Pressler, many sanctions. Even to date, one can count more than 150 kinds of the sanctions which Pakistan encountered, first on the nuclear, you can say, and then on the nuclear capable delivery vehicles, just based on the presumption. You have rightly pointed out that these Western countries, which were themselves nuclearly equipped, they were asking us to not test. That was a hypocrisy. True. And in the international politics, there is no morality, there is only interest. And in that, their interest was that they identified from 92 onward, or in the post-Cold War, India as their natural ally. And that's why today India and US are threshold allies, and these countries like Britain and France, they always copy and paste the American policy. Now they are now a little bit facing, after the Trump policies, some kind of a shift. but practically when they always aligned, and their primary desire was that Pakistan shall be its not autonomous or a sovereign state in South Asia, but as a accepting regional hegemon, that is India. And in 1983, India's what you call it, Indira Doctrine, and then from 92 onward, when they started Malabar naval exercise with the US, and the French and the Britishers were always endorsing it, we found that their primary target was to make Pakistan not sovereign in the domain of defense. They were giving us economic domain. I think nuclear gave us a big economic advantage. With the 7 to 8 billion US dollars defense budget, we are today, mashallah, able to defend and bleed a country with a nearly 80 billion US dollars defense. But that's not only a nuclear. Besides that, Pakistan developed a lot, what you call it, defensive technologies, new emerging technologies, and main is the man behind the trigger. So with this, I think at that time our leadership, especially military or political leadership, I can endorse the political leadership at that time, they made a very courageous decision that despite all kind of the pressures and then number of the sanctions, they went for testing and demonstrating that we are a nuclear weapon state.
But Jaspal Sahab, thank you so much, for giving us such a brief and amazing answer where people would understand, and I would want future generations to kind of listen to this carefully. But General Sahab, coming back to you now. So on 28th of May, we tested our nukes. Then 2 days later, Pakistan conducted a 6th nuclear test at the Haran Desert in Balochistan as well. Why was that required?
I think all testing done 27 years back was necessary to get required data of our nuclear capability. And I think all those explosions, they gave us what was required, and thereafter we proceeded further. But I'd like to, now take you fast forward to today. Today, let me tell you and the nation that both our conventional and our nuclear capabilities and research facilities have emerged as some of the most outstanding organizations that par with the best in the world in the field of defense production and research, particularly, our nuclear capabilities and their various means of delivery are second to none in the world. And this has been endorsed by the entire world. And the latest one was by the US NSA, previous US government. And India knows this as well. But having said this, let me add that Pakistan's national security and defense policies are essentially defensive in nature, deter aggression. However, if deterrence fails, it will use any and all means and weapons in its arsenal to defend itself, its sovereignty, and its core survival interests. India and all its must know this very, very clearly. And following our full strengthening deterrence capability now, both conventional as well as the nuclear domain, I think we should be very confident that Pakistan is able to defend every inch of its territory, its economy, its political system, and national security interests, inshallah.
Exactly. And sir, in addition to this, thank you so much for bringing us in today's time as well. And we do know, how growing up as Pakistanis, it has been really essential for us to kind of protect our territorial integrity and sovereignty, and how the military and civil leadership and the entire Pakistani nation came together. But sir, the reason why we are observing Youm-e-Takbeer is that, that the future generations would know about it. Now, imagine that the United Nations Security Council adopted resolution 11.72, condemning the test by both the nations. Both India and Pakistan faced economic sanctions from major powers, particularly the United States and Japan. However, these sanctions were gradually eased with those attack ke baad. Phir, despite international pressure, Pakistan refused to sign the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty and the Non-Proliferation Treaty, citing national security concerns. How do you think back then it must have been a true challenge for the military and the civil leadership to kind of move on ahead? Because we have seen even in our recent times as well how different countries who actually wanted to become nuclear powers have not been able to become a nuclear power. So must have been challenging. We do know the importance of it in the region. And then how do you think that it actually never fulfilled Indian dreams to become an hegemon within the South Asian region?
Well, I think if you are referring to the signing of the NPT or the CTBT, neither we nor India are a signatory to that. India has, a different rationale for that. Our rationale is that both these regimes are discriminatory, and either they are applicable to all nuclear weapon states, or it is not applicable to anyone. So that is our principal stand, and I think it will remain in force. Of course, there were every effort was made to ensure that Pakistan does not acquire first the nuclear weapons capability, and secondly their means of delivery. But I think we overcame all the odds against that. We actually gave a lot of sacrifices at the time. Every one of us sacrificed. There was a time, I was to go, to a course invited by the United States at the U.S. Army War College, and I had no dollars with me to either buy a ticket or to spend there. These were the kinds of environment at the time. But slowly and gradually, I think things started improving. If you recall, the government had even imposed sanctions or limitations on the use of dollars by the citizens of Pakistan. So all those times were, very, very important for the nation, and we showed our resilience to make sure that our sovereignty and our defense is maintained and retained, as advised by Qaid-e-Azam soon, after independence. He had said that we have attained our independence, but for us to preserve this independence, you have to go through many sacrifices, and you should be prepared to meet all challenges that will come across your way. And Alhamdulillah, we did all that.
Alhamdulillah, sir. Thank you so much for saying that. And very quickly, I'll come back to Jaspal Sahab over here as well. Jaspal Sahab, now this is something that I would want you to kind of comment on, and it's a very serious issue. So, we do know how a strategic alliance with the US was sealed by India, that dangerously disrupted the region's nuclear equilibrium and placed India among the de facto nuclear elite, despite its refusal to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. And how do you think it impacted Pakistan?
I think that India has been given a lot of advantages, not even in the case of 1998. We have to trace it. In 2004, India-US signed a space cooperation agreement, which was very much effective for improving the India's missiles capability. And in 2005, Indo-US nuclear deal was signed. And first time, this nuclear non-proliferation regime has been transformed from a, you can say, in a different manner, where India was given a waiver later on in 2008, and India was treated as a nuclear armed state, which is not member of any nuclear non-proliferation regime's treaty or agreement, but enjoying the status of nuclear weapon state. Of course, Pakistan felt bad. Pakistan took a very serious stance on the Missile Nuclear Cutoff Treaty and on the CTBT. But what they desired to build India economically, politically, militarily, more stronger, and especially in the nuclear domain. But they failed to realize that Pakistan has indigenous program, We has developed our indigenous, you can say, equipments, and especially manpower. If you see our KRL or Pakistan Atomic Energy Agencies, all these kind of groups and scientists, which were our indigenous source, and with our indigenous, you can say, material and our own manpower, we sustain the evolutionary process of the Pakistan's nuclear program, especially the delivery vehicles, nuclear-capable delivery vehicles. I think we defied the Western desires, and it was demonstrated in 2019, and again, with a big bang demonstrated in the last recent 4-day military conflict. If you see, Pakistan has always observed nuclear restraint. We were asking the international community to establish nuclear weapon-free zone in South Asia since 1972. But when India tested, then we came up from 1998 onward, nuclear restraint regime in South Asia, and especially in the domain of delivery vehicles. Then we offered India, what we call it, or international community, to have a regional arms control. But India was not willing, and the West was supportive to it. And as a result, today, they were thinking that we were asking a restraint regime or some kind of an arms control from a position of weakness. No. We were asking to bring a more transparency, to restrain the arms, and there shall be a strategic stability rather than strategic instability. And these Western powers, especially the allies, which were giving India a waiver, always supporting India, and when you use the word, they levied sanctions against India and Pakistan, yes, but we have to also keep in mind, those sanctions had 80% impact on us, maybe 5 to 10% impact on India, because India had a Russian military technology, and those sanctions were curbing, or you can say hindering, Pakistan's security development or maturing the nuclear program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, sir, for stating that as well. And very quickly, General Saab, anything that you would want to say towards the end, because it's about time that we'll have to wrap up. Please go ahead.
Quickly say, that unfortunately, Indian leadership, according to some of their more, saner analysts, is a problem not for India or Pakistan, but for regional peace, and in fact, the whole world. They have themselves branded the Modi regime as non-serious, irresponsible, ignorant, and hungry for publicity. And some of them have actually said that they are using their armed forces for political advantage. That is the most serious situation, I think, which the people of India and the world must note. But India must not forget our responses given to them both in 2019 and recently. And they must remember how the Pakistani nation responded to it with its traditional unity, faith, and discipline. And I'm sure, they will get a befitting response if they try to weaponize the water or try to steal our water or undertake any other aggression against Pakistan.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Thank you
very
so
well
much, sir,
said.
for your wonderful message as well. Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Retired Raza Muhammad Khan Saab, for being with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Zafar Nawaz Jaspal Saab, for being with us. Thank you so much for taking our
Can you
time.
give me one sentence?
Sure.
We have to keep in mind that the state's sovereignty and geographical integrity is only durable and sustainable if the state's sovereign defense is grounded on state's own professional arms equipped with indigenous modern weaponry.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so
Very
much for
well
saying
said.
that. I think it actually sums it up for all of us as well. But very quickly, towards the end, I would want to kind of thank all of those important figures who actually made Pakistan a nuclear power as well. So obviously I've mentioned how Nawaz Sharif Saab was there, military chiefs was there, and Zahid Saab, Chaudhry Shahzad, Sartaj Aziz, Dr. Abdul Qadir Saab, W. Qazi, the cabinet secretary, was there as well. And then how Jaspal Saab even mentioned that it was the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, the Kahuta Research Laboratories, and the Pakistani Army Corps of Engineers. And key scientists included Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, often referred to as the father of Pakistan nuclear program, and Dr. Samar Mubarak Mand as well. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, we do know, we have seen it in recent times, that how indigenously Pakistani military is equipped with the modern, latest technologies And no matter what happens, Pakistan will certainly never let India think that they can be hegemon within the South Asian region, because Pakistan stands tall on their promises, sovereignty and territorial integrity. Until next time, look after yourselves. I'm saying a goodbye with the patriotic song, Pakistan Zindabad, Youm-e-Takbeer, Paindapad. Allah Hafiz. Good morning. Have a great day. What a good
Now you know.